Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Rice Report, an opportunity for you to learn what's happening in my office, your office, right here in Rockville. And I'm coming to you from the County Council hearing room, where shortly we're going to be meeting with tons of residents about a myriad of issues that affect our county's budget, one of the major responsibilities for this county council and our county executive every single year. We've had education budget forums, 4 of them so far. Our next and final meeting will be on March 23rd at Wootton High School. And I encourage you to come out to learn a little bit about the budget process, but also about our education budget, which represents almost half of our county-approved budget. Both when it comes to capital improvements as well as operating budget, you're talking about a little over $2.5 billion. For those of you who have children in our school system, but for those of you who also might be looking to either retool yourselves at Montgomery College or have children that are interested in attending our great community college, Montgomery College, as well, it's a great opportunity for you to have your voice heard, but also learn a little bit about what's going on with our budget deliberations. And so I encourage you to attend. Many of you know that the county executive sent over his recommendations for our county budget. It's a budget that is quite robust. It includes a property tax increase, much of which goes to help support education, which I completely support in terms of making sure that we're supporting our education systems. The challenge will be in making sure that these numbers balance with what we understand are some of the needs and concerns of our community. Many folks have expressed that they have not seen their own salaries increase and have seen their property values decrease. And so from that perspective, it certainly is a challenge when we're proposing a property tax increase that is above the charter limit. And so we look forward to hearing from residents. We look forward to hearing from you. Chime in about what you feel is fair. And where you feel those dollars should be best addressed to help make sure that we continue to be one of the best places to live in America. You know, we've just finished up deliberations on a lot of our capital improvement program budget items. And so those capital improvements are really our bricks and mortar. Those are our buildings, whether they're libraries or police and fire stations, county buildings, roads, all the things that you use each and every day. And although we don't have as much money as we like, we certainly find ourselves in a much better position when it comes to making sure that we're supporting a lot of the infrastructure needs that we've heard from you are so important. You know, speaking of talking about reaching out to the community, we just held our last community meeting, our council town hall in Clarksburg.
Your council representative, Craig Rice, who's also chair of our education committee.
And it was a great opportunity to hear from one of our newest areas in terms of burgeoning growth about what infrastructure needs they identified were most important. And what we heard resoundingly from our Clarksburg and up-county community was the support of M83, a master plan highway that would extend from Great Seneca all the way up to Clarksburg. This master plan route has been on the books for many years and is a justification for the level of development that we've seen in the up-county. I really appreciate my colleagues' understanding of how important this is to the up-county. And while not every one of our council members is in support of this project, I do think it's something that needs to be thoroughly vetted. And if we do not move forward with M83, we have to certainly have something that's going to alleviate the traffic congestion and allow for residents to have alternative means of transportation to get to other areas, not only throughout Montgomery County, but throughout the Washington metropolitan area. I want to talk a little bit about the state, because the state is currently winding down its General Assembly session. And we rely on the state so much for continued support when it comes to education funding, health and human services, fire and safety, the like. And so it really is important for us to continue to get every single dollar that we feel is necessary to support and protect the way of life here in Montgomery County. Mandated GCEI, or Geographic Cost of Education Index funding, that was secured through our General Assembly through the leadership of folks like Senator Nancy King, has been tremendous for us, and we really appreciate the help. There's a bill that currently is before the General Assembly dealing with teacher pension costs and helping to alleviate some of those additional costs that have been borne by the counties, and hopefully the state will be able to pick up on some of those costs and help us out. The key is this: at a time in which the state is running a surplus and Montgomery County and many counties throughout the state continue to struggle, it's important for the state to help. It's important for the state to help its residents that are also Montgomery County residents to make sure that we can continue down the pathway of ensuring success and supporting all of our residents. We oftentimes talk about making sure that we're doing everything right, making sure that we're streamlining. And I think our Office of Legislative Oversight does a tremendous job in putting forth recommendations. One of the most recent reports that came out was our school-to-prison pipeline here in Montgomery County, and a number of different recommendations that we need to move forward with to ensure that all of our students, regardless of race, ethnic origin, or background, are able to achieve and are siphoned into pathways and careers, whether those end up being postgraduate institutions or career workforce, that they're streamlined and that they're easy for folks to attain. And I think from that perspective, there's a little bit more that we can do within our school system. And so we're looking to our school system to help embrace some of the recommendations that were made by our Office of Legislative Oversight. I know that myself and my members of the Education Committee remain committed to making sure that we can continue to disrupt this pipeline, this pathway in which we see a lot of our young minority students being funneled into our correctional institutions. It's something that is a cost-bearing burden on us as a county. And so that's the reason why it's a moral imperative for us to ensure that everybody attains a certain level of success. You know, we continue to work on a number of other initiatives too that continue to affect the county's way of life. Councilmember Nancy Navarro and I have introduced legislation dealing with illegal dumping, something that doesn't get a lot of attention, but is something that I know many of you in many neighborhoods have experienced. And that, unfortunately, is where we have companies that contract with larger companies to dispose of trash, but instead of taking them to our waste management facilities, actually end dumping them in neighborhoods. And a lot of times these happen to be on vacant land patches, heavily forested neighborhood areas where there's not a lot of attention, but they're also environmentally sensitive areas as well. And these, of course, are blights on our community, but also dangers to our environment. And so we're hoping by raising these fines, we can make and bring about awareness to this problem that continues to persist in, unfortunately, some of our more socioeconomically depressed neighborhoods, but also in some of our more rural areas throughout the county as well. And so we're hoping that we can put forth a message that anybody who decides that they're going to try and illegally dump here in Montgomery County will be fined heavily and will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So I want to thank you very much for tuning in to another edition of the Rice Report. This has been a great short synopsis of all the great things that are going on here in Montgomery County, right here at our County Council hearing room. Over these next few weeks and months, we'll be deliberating on how to take Montgomery County down the road of fiscal sustainability, but also in terms of making sure we can ensure Montgomery County continues to be one of the best places to live, work, and play. You can always reach out to me via Facebook. It's Councilmember Craig Rice. You can reach me on Twitter @RicePolitics, and you can also always just call my office 240-777-7955. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in and encourage you. Be a part of this process. It's an important one for us, and it shapes our future. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care, and God bless.